Here are 3 things I'm watching this week as a Washington Post political journalist. First, Pope Francis has died at 88 years old. U.S. officials and lawmakers are sharing tributes. President Donald Trump posted a message saying, "Rest in peace, Pope Francis." Vice President J.D. Vance, who's Catholic and who met with Pope Francis on Easter, one day before the Pope's death, also posted a message remembering the Pope. Here's what happens next. The Pope's funeral is usually held 4 to 6 days after his death. President Trump says he'll be there. The process of mourning Pope Francis and then choosing his successor will be a big international story over the next few weeks, with more than 1.3 billion Catholics around the world and the Pope continuing to be a huge international figure and symbol. The papal conclave, where the next Pope is chosen, is held 15 to 20 days after the Pope's death. I'll be watching for what the selection of the next Pope signals about what direction the Catholic Church might be heading in this next era. Next, the Supreme Court is considering some big cases this week. On Monday, a case weighing the future of free preventative medical care under the Affordable Care Act. This would affect whether Americans have to pay out of pocket for services that are currently covered for free under the ACA, also known as Obamacare. That includes disease screenings and drugs to protect women during pregnancy. And on Tuesday, a case deciding whether parents can pull their kids out of public school lessons that involve LGBTQ-themed books. It's one of 3 major religious rights cases that the Supreme Court is considering this term. It comes as the court's conservative majority has consistently ruled in favor of expanding the role of religion in public life, specifically with a string of cases involving Christian plaintiffs. And the Supreme Court over the weekend temporarily blocked another round of migrants being deported from the U.S. under the Alien Enemies Act. This is a wartime law that Trump has been invoking to deport groups of Venezuelans from the U.S. to El Salvador's mega prison without giving them hearings. I'll be watching for updates. Next, speaking of Trump's deportation policies, 4 House Democrats are currently in El Salvador to meet with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man the Trump administration admitted it mistakenly deported to El Salvador. Representatives Robert Garcia, Maxwell Frost, Yasmin Ansari, and Maxine Dexter plan to demand his release in meetings with government officials and want to meet with him at the detention center where he's being held. I'll be watching for whether they are able to meet with Abrego Garcia like Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen did last week, and what comes out of this trip. This is just the latest update keeping the Abrego Garcia case front and center in political discourse. It's also keeping the spotlight on Trump's immigration policies as courts consider the limits of the president's powers.